All right. For those of you ready to level up their fitness game, get ready for a deep dive into building muscle the smart way. We're dissecting this insightful interview with Dr. Shannon Ritchey. She's a physical therapist, and let me tell you, she is passionate about strength training, especially for women.
And she really digs into some common misconceptions, like, have you ever heard that lifting weights will make you bulky?
Oh, don't even get me started. That myth is the reason I avoided weights for years.
Mm-hmm.
I was terrified of turning into, like, a female Hulk.
It's so common, right? But Dr. Ritchey really breaks it down. Building muscle, especially for us ladies, it's not easy. It takes consistent effort, the right approach, and definitely a whole lot of dedication. In fact, she even mentioned it took her a full year to gain just 5 pounds of muscle.
Oh, wow, okay. That really puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
Totally. We're not talking about some overnight magic trick. This is about building long-term strength and health. And one of the things Dr. Ritchey emphasizes, you got to have enough protein.
Okay, see, now this is where I need to pay attention. She actually aims for a gram of protein per pound of body weight.
That's way more than a lot of people realize, especially if you're trying to build muscle.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm already trying to figure out how I can fit in more protein. Wait, did she actually say she eats sardines, like those tiny fish?
Yep. You heard right. She starts her day with this sardine salad, which I have to admit sounds a little different.
Okay, sardine salad for breakfast might not be my thing, but hey, whatever works, right?
Exactly. The key is finding what works for you. And when it comes to working out, Dr. Ritchey is all about ditching that more is always better mentality. She's not about endless cardio or pushing yourself till you drop.
So you're saying I could retire my burpee addiction. Tell me more.
It's about working smarter, not just harder. She's all about targeted lifts, hitting different muscle groups on different days. And get this, she's a big advocate for rest days.
Taking a break to get stronger. Now that's a new concept for me.
It's all about letting your muscles recover and rebuild. She even recommends taking a full reset week every 8 to 12 weeks.
Wait, a whole week off? That sounds almost too good to be true, especially coming from someone who used to believe in no pain, no gain.
That's exactly the kind of thinking she wants to change. It's all about listening to your body, understanding that rest is just as important as the actual workout.
So if I'm hearing you right, it's all about balance, isn't it?
Absolutely. And not just physical balance, but mental balance, too. Dr. Ritchey actually talks about how strength training has been amazing for her mental health.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So we're talking feeling good on the inside and the outside. Tell me more about this mind-body connection.
Well, she describes exercise as this powerful tool. It can help you regulate your nervous system, manage stress, even deal with anxiety and depression. And the best part, she integrates things like breath work and relaxation techniques right into her routine.
So it's not just about building biceps, it's about building resilience.
Exactly. And you know what else? She isn't afraid to call out some of the questionable fitness trends you see online. Like, remember that whole core stability snatches your waist trend?
Oh yeah, I've seen that all over social media. What's her take on all that?
She's not buying it, not one bit. She's all about sticking to evidence-based methods. And she really encourages her followers to think critically about all the fitness advice they come across.
Which is such a good reminder for all of us. Just because something is trending doesn't make it true, right? Or even safe for that matter.
It's so easy to fall for those flashy promises, but Dr. Ritchey's really big on encouraging people to pause and think, hold on, does this even make sense?
I love that. Speaking of making sense, you mentioned she went on this whole journey of simplifying her approach to fitness. Tell me more about that.
So picture this. She's going all out, heavy lifting, intense classes, you name it. Because, like a lot of us, she thought, hey, more equals better results.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know that go harder, go home mentality all too well.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Exactly. But here's the thing. It actually ended up causing her chronic pain when she was only 24.
Wow, 24. That's crazy. I mean, as a physical therapist, that had to be a huge wake-up call.
Yeah, it was a total turning point. She realized she needed to really understand the science of exercise, not just follow the latest fads. So she dove deep into biomechanics and even, get this, bodybuilding principles.
Bodybuilding, really?
Yeah.
That seems kind of surprising considering she's all about working out smarter, not necessarily harder.
I know, right? But she found a lot of inspiration in the way bodybuilders isolate and target specific muscle groups. She realized that some of those traditional, heavy, compound exercises everyone was doing, yeah, they weren't actually working for her body. They were causing more pain than actual progress.
Makes you think, how many people out there are just pushing through pain, thinking it's normal or even necessary to see results?
It's a slippery slope for sure. Dr. Ritchie's a big believer in paying attention to your body's signals. She discovered that by really honing in on exercises that isolate and strengthen individual muscles, she could still gain strength without putting so much stress on her joints.
So it's all about customizing your workout, right? Not just following some generic plan.
Exactly. And understanding your nervous system is a huge part of that.
Okay, we touched on the mental benefits of exercise, but how does the nervous system play into all of this?
Think of it like this. Your nervous system is basically your body's control center. It's in charge of everything, from your heartbeat to, how you respond to stress. And when you work out, especially those high-intensity workouts, you're activating your sympathetic nervous system, which is basically your fight-or-flight response.
Right, but we don't want to be stuck in fight or flight mode 24/7, do we?
Definitely not. That's why Dr. Ritchie emphasizes the importance of activating your parasympathetic nervous system after your workout. That's your rest and digest mode. It helps your body recover, reduces inflammation, brings everything back into balance.
So it's not just about what you do during your workout, it's also about how you recover afterward. That's when the real magic happens, when your muscles rebuild and all that.
Exactly. And to really tap into that rest and digest mode, Dr. Ritchie incorporates some simple but really effective practices into her routine. One of her favorites, breath work.
Oh, I'm all about breath work. Even a few minutes of focused breathing can totally shift your whole state of mind and body.
Right. It's amazing. She's also a fan of Shavasana, that relaxation pose from yoga, as part of her cool down routine, just giving your body a chance to fully relax and reset.
I love that she focuses on these practices that anyone can do. You don't need a fancy gym or anything. And speaking of resets, she talked about these reset weeks too, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things that sounds kind of counterintuitive at first, but makes so much sense when you understand the science behind it. So every 8 to 12 weeks, she takes a full week off from exercising.
Hold on. A whole week. And that actually makes her stronger. How does that even work?
It does seem weird, but when you're consistently pushing your body, it can actually become kind of desensitized to the things that stimulate muscle growth.
Oh, interesting. So those anabolic pathways everyone's always talking about need a little break now and then to really function at their best.
Exactly. It's like hitting the reset button on your muscle building potential. And when you go back to your workouts after that break, your body's primed and ready to grow even stronger.
It's a good reminder that sometimes you need to take a step back to move forward, right? Now, I'm curious about her take on fitness trends, especially all the hype around spot reduction.
Oh, she doesn't hold back. She calls those claims that you can snatch your waist with certain exercises exactly what they are. Nonsense. You can't spot reduce fat. And honestly, it's so refreshing to hear an expert just come out and say it.
It's so true. Your body doesn't lose fat in just one specific area.
Exactly. And while we're on the topic of debunking myths, she also had some really interesting thoughts on cycle syncing. That whole thing about syncing your workouts with your period.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that everywhere lately. Some people seem to swear by it, but I've always been a bit skeptical. What's her stance on it?
She definitely sees the value in tuning into your body's natural rhythms and, adjusting your workouts based on how you're feeling, especially during your cycle.
So, like, if you're feeling super energized one week, go for that extra mile. But if you need to rest, listen to your body.
Exactly. But she also points out that a lot of the really rigid rules and complexity that come with cycle syncing, that can actually be counterproductive if you're trying to consistently build muscle.
So it's all about finding that balance between honoring your cycle and not letting it totally derail your progress.
Yeah. Exactly, because consistency is key, right? And speaking of consistency, Dr. Ritchie made this point that really stuck with me. It's about building a solid foundation of muscle mass, especially as we get older. It's about investing in our health span, not just our lifespan.
It's easy to get caught up in the aesthetics of fitness, but she really emphasizes that it's about so much more than how we look.
Absolutely. She talked about how building muscle as we age can lead to stronger bones, better insulin sensitivity, a reduced risk of age-related decline. These are all things that directly impact our quality of life as we get older.
It's like a retirement fund for your health. I love that analogy. And for women, especially those going through menopause, building muscle becomes even more important, wouldn't you say?
Totally. Hormonal changes during menopause can really affect body composition, so it's crucial to prioritize strength training. And yet it's often a time when women aren't given enough information or support to make informed decisions about their health.
That's so true. We need to be talking about this more openly.
Okay,
let's switch gears for a second and talk about food. We've talked about protein, but what's her overall approach to nutrition?
She's all about keeping it real, no restrictive diets or crazy deprivation. She prioritizes whole, nutrient-dense foods. But she also believes in enjoying the foods you love in moderation. And yes, that includes the occasional margarita.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Balance. You build muscle, you prioritize protein, but you also enjoy life's little indulgences.
Exactly. It's about what works for you, not some rigid plan. And speaking of things that work, we got to talk about that sardine salad.
Oh, it's back. So she really eats this regularly. Like, it's not just for show.
Oh yeah, she's serious about her sardine salad. It's her go-to lunch, apparently. Packed with protein, healthy fats, all that good stuff. Might not be everyone's favorite, but hey, she walks the walk, right?
You know what? I might have to give it a try. For science, of course. But seriously, it's kind of inspiring, to be that in tune with what your body needs. And that's not just about food, is it? She's also really big on sleep.
Huge. She aims for 8 to 9 hours a night, no exceptions, considers it non-negotiable for recovery, both physically and mentally. And let's be honest, most of us could probably use a little more sleep, right?
Amen to that. Sleep is usually the first thing to go when things get crazy. But, hearing an expert emphasize it like that, it really makes you stop and think.
Okay.
Okay, before we wrap up, were there any other, big takeaways from Dr. Ritchey that really stuck with you?
Oh, for sure. Remember how we were talking about the mental and emotional benefits of exercise? She shared this really insightful point about how it helps her deal with stress and anxiety.
Yeah, she mentioned that whole thing about regulating your nervous system. But what does that actually, feel like for her?
She described it as this incredible sense of release and control, like exercise helps her face those everyday stresses with a clearer mind and a calmer body.
I love that. It's like exercise is her secret weapon for navigating life's ups and downs. It's not just about physical strength. It's about building that mental and emotional resilience, too.
Exactly. And it got me thinking about something else Dr. Ritchie mentioned, Ozempic face. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I have. It sounds kind of scary, to be honest.
Yeah.
What is that exactly? And why did Dr. Ritchie bring it up?
So it's basically a side effect of Ozempic, that medication originally meant for type 2 diabetes, but it's become really popular for weight loss lately. And basically it can cause a loss of fat in your face, which can make people look kind of gaunt or older.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that is kind of scary.
Yeah.
I guess it just goes to show that even medications marketed for weight loss can have these unintended and maybe even undesirable side effects.
Exactly. And I don't think Dr. Ritchie was trying to demonize the medication or anything. It was more about highlighting how important it is to really think critically about any kind of intervention, whether it's a new diet, a workout program, or even a medication.
So it's about asking yourself those questions, right? Like, what are the potential risks and benefits? What are the long-term implications? And making sure you have all the information you need to make a decision that's right for you.
Absolutely. It all comes back to that idea of empowerment, being an active participant in your own health journey instead of just blindly following trends or quick fixes.
So well said. Knowledge is power, right? And when it comes to our bodies, there's always more to learn. This whole deep dive has been amazing. It's really got me thinking about tuning into my body, challenging those old beliefs, and figuring out what truly works best for me.
Me too. It's all about embracing that journey of self-discovery, giving ourselves permission to experiment, adapt, and find what makes us feel our best.
Couldn't agree more. A huge thank you to Dr. Shannon Ritchey for sharing her insights and reminding us that fitness isn't about fitting into some mold. It's about building a body and a life you love. Now, excuse me, I think I'm going to go whip up a sardine salad. Or maybe just pour myself a big glass of water and get some extra sleep.
Listen to your body, and until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.